up the farther.
Yeah, man.
This is Nick Sr., his son Nick Jr., and that's Jay, ain't it?
Yeah,
And we are retrieving the dinghy now from the beach. We're going to tow it back to Epiphany. Our dinghy is our next recovery project. We were able to keep it from getting away. We've lost the seat, the oars are ripped off, motor's kind of jammed in that position. Let's get on board and see if we can free stuff up and see what we can do to salvage this. Well, the fuel tank's a little dinged up. I think it'll make a good backup. I've got a new fuel tank that I can use. Gas hose is ripped off. The other rest of it's missing. Pulled right off the motor. We've got another gas line spare. So, first test is, let's see if the motor is locked up or will turn. Ah, she's got compression. She will turn. Good sign. So let's get her freed up from this rope hung in her. See if we can get it freed up. And these ropes tore out all the way along the side of the boat. Got a grommet kit. I can put new grommets in them. Restore all that. The motor is my main concern, so that's what I'm working on. It's alive! And it's pumping water. And I don't even have a gas can hooked to it. It's a miracle. Let me shut it off and get some gas. Not surprisingly at all. Apparently the dinghy's got a little leak in it. Not a big deal, it's not going to sink because it's an inflatable, but the solution for now is just bail it out every time we get in it till we get everything else squared away. Then we got to pull the motor, flip the dinghy. We're going to have to do that eventually to get all the floorboards out and wash the sand out from underneath it, but we'll just bail it out for now and bail it out every time we use it. The only grommets that survived on the top rail for the bolt rope were these two on that side and those two on that side, so we're having to replace them. You can see where the old ones are tore out. And we've got grommets. We've got a grommet kit, but trying to hammer a grommet against something flexible is impossible, so we've devised an ingenious way to do this. First step is to C-clamp a board behind this, or not C-clamp, I wish I had a C-clamp, but vice grip a board behind the rubber. That gives me some resistance. Then, using the hammer, and let me find it. Normally you use a hollow punch to punch these holes for the grommets where they got to go through the rubber, but you don't have enough resistance on this board to do that, to punch these holes out. So I'm using a razor knife to work myself around in a circle and cut these holes out. Once the new holes are cut, I can put the male side of the grommets in, and then the female side goes here, and then I got to use the tools to compress it. This tool goes on the back side, then your other side of the rivet goes on, and this tapered tool expands it. But normally you just hammer this, but I've got nothing to hammer against. Even with a block of wood it don't work, so I'm going to compress it with these vice grips. So by slowly squeezing each vice grip on each side, of the grommet compression tool, I can squeeze the grommet into shape. And presto. Not perfect, but it'll work. And that's how we're replacing the grommets. This is the hollow center punch tool you would normally drive through the fabric to make the holes. But I don't have enough resistance, even with the block of wood here, to get that to punch through this reinforced fabric. You can see several layers of cloth, so we're going to use a razor knife. We've replaced 40 grommets, 20 on each side. You can see where these were tore out in the surf on the beach all the way down. So we've put 2 on either side of where the ones were tore out. So we basically doubled the amount of grommets we're using to reinforce the dinghy. And we're placing a knot on the inside, which gives us a handle on the bolt rope at each location that we can attach a dive ladder to get back out of the boat. And we've put a tow loop up here on the front and a hand loop at the back there, so we can swim alongside the dinghy. And it involves endless pulling. This is all one continuous piece of rope that we knot in between the 2 grommets. But slow, tedious, but it'll make her strong. It's what saved the dinghy in the surf when we were beached and allow us to have a fully functioning dinghy again. The bolt rope project is complete. All the way around the boat with a tow loop in the front, back down to the stern. So now we can hang our atria ladder for when we go snorkeling and diving. We need a way to get back in the boat, and the bolt rope is the securing attachment for the ladder. Another item that attaches to the bolt rope is this set of inline figure 8s to form handholds that we throw over the edge of the boat. So when you're climbing up the atria ladder that we throw over the side of the boat to get back in, you've got something to hold on to pull your center of mass up over the edge. It really makes getting back in the dinghy easier. Our gas line was snatched off and broken. We had a spare gas line for the outboard. We also had a spare tank where the other one's getting a little beat up. We've got the outboard running. That's in neutral. Yep, she goes in forward. She goes in reverse. It's alive! She survived! Now the next chore is we've only got one oar. We'll reattach it on the side that's still got an oar post, and we'll make a wooden seat for the front because we lost a seat. We're going to make the replacement dinghy seat out of this 1x12. We've got it marked at 4'8", 3 inches in. Got a couple holes marked at each end. That'll be for a rope to secure it to the bolt rope, keep it from sliding around. And we just got to safely make this cut. Bingo! Close enough. And there we go. A new seat for the dinghy. And we've zip tied it in place to the bolt rope. Critical. And just snipping off the zip ties, and this part of the project's done. And now it's time for a test drive.